our startup ImpersonAlly, it's about solving impersonation fraud, impersonation, phishing, and misinformation done in the web. So we basically envision what happens when you cannot trust anything out there. It's almost, I mean, on your cell phone, on your when surfing the web, like on your computer. As we encounter a lot of issues doing that. So we created a solution to basically help brands find these threats and help them solve them. I mean, there are a lot of angles to this problem. So it's the user angle and the brand's angle.
Okay.
Since we've seen that a lot of times the fraudsters use the trust that brands created, so we decided to go and tackle brands. Now we try to find the threats as a simple user will do, but then help brands to solve it. Now the machine learning part comes on creating like kind of an army of users that are surfing the web, and in contrast of a lot of users that if you see something suspicious, you don't go on that rabbit hole. These robots are going on that rabbit hole, collecting as much information as possible, and then it enables us to understand what the fraudster is doing.
Okay.
And when we understand it, we can mitigate it.
Okay.
So basically, we have an army of AI agents that they keep learning, understand what fraudsters are trying to do, recognizing fraud patterns, and then collecting all this data, and then we analyze all this data on our data centers.
Okay.
And generate notifications, alerts. I can do a quick demo. This thing, for example, may seem like an innocent ad for PayPal, right? If you are a user and click it, but in fact, it's a fraudster. And when a user click here, went to the website, so you see a fraud phone number. When calling that number, you're basically stolen your credit card information or account or whatever you're doing. Okay. We've seen this fraud in a lot of times. It can happen in different ways. So, for example, if we go to our app, what you see here is a lot of companies, again, on the PayPal example, a lot of companies doing fraud on PayPal. If I open, our tool collects instances. So for example, here it can tell you, okay, this instance was collected in this state from this location when a user searched for this search term on mobile. And then he saw this, right? And basically when clicking on it, he went to this number, but this number is a fake number for PayPal. It's not an official number. So our AI basically does a few things. First, recognizes that this ad is not for PayPal.
Okay.
Or maybe before that, first we find this ad.
Okay.
Okay? Because this ad is not shown.
And that's just like normal search.
No, this ad is not shown to every user. The fraudsters are so clever that they leverage targeting capabilities of the platform to basically say, I will show this only to 65-year-olds in some place that they know they are more vulnerable. Now, our agent, if you scrape the web regularly, you never see that because you don't have that demographic. So our agent also knows how to put that hat of that demographic, that man more than 65 or women, right? And then detecting this. Of course, there is a lot of tech as well to know. I mean, it's a huge space. You can search everything, right? We don't have the computing power as like Google, right? To search all the. So how to do that cleverly, right? To maximize finding threats. But then we find it. Then we say we detect. Okay, this is not an official thing. So we take a lot of signals to identify that. And then on top of that, we need to know that, okay, if a user clicks there, he will go all these redirects. These redirects, our AI analyzes them. They know that this is suspicious, and then checking that this number is not the official number. So all that is done automatically, completely automated by our agents that then collect that information and some more as evidence, right? And they found like different instances of that, right?
In terms of technology, do you use anything like reinforcement learning or things like that?
Basically, the reinforcement learning part, it's involved on how all this data then feeds back into more understanding. And again, we at the end there, if you as a human will see this, right? So for example, come closer, right? You will see that PayPal 2 dots now. This looks a bit suspicious.
Okay.
Then you see here pay.pal. It's a bit suspicious, right?
Okay.
And this is mainly because you recognize that this is kind of a pattern that they're trying to bypass the Google trademark recognition. And then as a human you can recognize. So our aim is how to tell the machine, right, to start understanding that this false a suspicious
Exactly.
The main thing is all the data that our bots collect, like what you're seeing here. So search results, social profile results. We aggregate that, or we enrich that, right?
Okay.
With other data sets that we have, like some of them are public data sets. For example, on the phone numbers of the companies,
Okay.
or people. Some of the impersonation is done on the executives or people in the company. So we are enriching all the time. If there is a new use case, we enrich, and then we basically join all that together. We run mainly on cloud and Amazon. So we don't have our own data centers. We have our kind of a small GPU cluster where we do run experiments, but it's not a production one. It's more for for experiments.
For development.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our stack is more, we do a lot of things custom. We use Golang in Python and microservices in Docker, right, on the backend. That's our main stack on the backend. Front-end wise, we do React, TypeScript, on the platform. And then on the machine learning side, we use something called food gradientation, which is a method that we do for part of the reinforcement. It's a dynamic reinforcement learning framework. And then another thing we do for more on the deep thing is something called Gaussian learning. And we go to meetups, right, a lot. Our team goes to a lot of meetups related to stay on top of that. Of course, we are going to reinvent in a few weeks in December the AWS conference in the Valley. So big one, big one. To stay in touch, to stay on top of things, and yeah, YouTube and internet. We're still developing everything. We play a whack-a-mole game or a mouse and cat, and we do a lot of research on new techniques. Every time when we catch something, they come up with something else. So it's a never-ending story. It's part of our industry. So it's ever evolving, right? So keeping that up and learn and adapting it. So once you have solved one issue, right, then it's not relevant
There's another
anymore, right?
So that's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's
And the easiest.
It's very visual. So I can show you something here,
and
you understand very easily.
Okay,
Right? So that part, compared to other machine learning problems that are more a back-end exercise or more abstract, so that part is relatively easy to explain. The world will even change, right? I mean, almost everything that we may see, may be fake, may have bad intentions, and we need to try to find solutions, both as persons, as users, as parents, as whatever, right? Everything has a potential of risk much higher than what we are used to. So I think that's a big challenge that we need to. I mean, we need to find solutions as humanity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Man, what a great video.